at the upcoming National Convention of the Progressive Liberal Party, it is my intention to allow my name to be placed in nomination for the position of National Chairman of our party. From a purely political point of view, it cannot be disputed that the overall functioning of the PLP requires as its fundamental focus, which happens to be the primary task assigned to the chairman, that is, the readiness of the party to become and to remain the government of this archipelagic nation. After all, that is the prize in each and every general election. More than 50 years ago, our leaders concluded that in order to capture that prize, we should formulate ourselves into a political organization so as to systematically and methodically develop and maintain ourselves as an institutional activist for social, economic, and political betterment. They learned that this could only be achieved if we had our finger on the pulse of the nation and our ear to the ground. It is now a matter of history that as a result of the effectiveness of that basic strategy, the PLP led us as a people as we collectively stood firmly against institutional apartheid, bigotry, and systematic economic and educational subjugation of the majority of our people in those times. Having a clear understanding of that strategy is what underpinned the real movement of the PLP that led it to regaining the government in 2002. I know this because I served as vice chairman of our party during the last 18 months leading up to that election. Beyond that, and crucial to elections in this country as we have now seen following the last general election, the chairman of the PLP must devise strategies by which we are to guard the gate in order to minimize cheating by our opponents. As we move into the last half of the current governing period of the FNM, all Bahamians know, whether you're FNM or PLP, that our country has experienced unparalleled suffering since the FNM took over in 2007. Crime has spiraled out of control, with the murder count returning to the high levels it was prior to 2002 when the PLP had regained the government. Thousands of hard-working Bahamians, breadwinners, have been made redundant from their jobs in our #1 industry without proper compensation or humanistic consideration by the foreign-based employers. Workers in this country have once again become second-class citizens. The FNM openly accepts and seem to resign to the fact that they are incapable of devising any strategy for economic rebound in the immediate future of our country. And the FNM sees our young people under the age of 30 as being a problem to push aside and call names rather than being seen as the source of economic rebound and social reorder of our country. Because of these things, the PLP now has its best chance of securing the government in 2012. As a basic strategy, it is my view that when a political organization is as close to a sure thing as now exists for the PLP being able to win the next general election, it is absolutely necessary that it puts its best foot forward, with its best people doing what they are most effective at doing, as opposed to simply facilitating their personal political desires and wants. It is about teamwork, knowing your role and playing it hard. At the chairman's level, this is best achieved by someone who is young enough at heart, if not in age, to give our very youthful electorate a comfortable feeling that the PLP will factor them into its plans. That person must also have adequate experience as an activist, advocate, and civil leader in this country. And I feel, obviously, that I possess those characteristics. Now, with this in mind, I hereby declare that should I be elected as national chairman at convention, bar any unforeseen circumstances, it would be my intention not to offer for re-election as a member of parliament in 2012. In this way, from day one, I would be able to put 100% of my effort into the national task of regaining the government as a whole. This means that my constituency would stretch from the salt flats of Inagua in the south to the sandy beaches of Grand Key in the north, and not just a constituency on the island of New Providence. For a person trying to gain and regain a seat in Parliament, the task of chairman would present a measure of day-to-day conflict that would not bode well for that person's constituents or the party as a whole. Now, having said this, however, let me say to my people of Mount Moriah that I shall continue to have a special place in my heart for them, and I shall maintain an open door policy for them to do whatever it is that they may need me to do, either on a personal level or in relation to matters coming out from the nation at large. Now, having a clear understanding of the nature of the task of the chairman, and against the backdrop of the shameless admission of the F&M administration that it has no plans for the rejuvenation of the economy of Grand Bahama, on this coming Friday, the 9th of October 2009, I will be addressing Grand Bahama PLP delegates to the convention in a pre-convention presentation on the topic Strategies for Immediate Economic Rejuvenation of Grand Bahama in 2009. It is my view that making this presentation is the most effective way of setting the right tone for the convention itself, as well as the approach of government in resolving the economic woes of Grand Bahama. In the end, I will show that the answers are embedded in the 41-year-old policy of the PLP, as articulated by none other than the father of our nation, the Right Honorable Sir Lyndon Pidney. With God's help and the support of the convention delegates, I will not only be elected national chairman at convention later this month, but shall be serving in that post when the PLP regains the government in 2012. At the end of convention, whether I win or lose, I hereby commit my efforts to that of the party to ensure that there is unity as we move forward in this collective quest. Thank you. Yes.
If elected, how would you help the PLP to gain power in 2012? What is your focus to achieve?
Well, as I indicated, you have to first of all understand that the job of the chairman is that of strategic implementation of the policy and the focus and the goals of the party. And with that being the case, one of the things we realized that was a problem in the last general election, as I've already mentioned, is there was a lot of cheating happening at the polls. People were voting in areas they were not supposed to vote in, etc. So one of the first things is that we have to make sure that we have a team of people who watch very carefully what the parliamentary registry is doing, essentially getting on the ground in a door-to-door visitation program. I'm not going to tell you the full strategy, but a door-to-door program that would allow the PLP to really know who is where, and to be able to challenge people long before the election itself comes up. That's one of the most important things. That's behind the scene. One of the things in the public domain is to talk about some of the issues and the policies and to be forthright when it comes to addressing these issues for the benefit of the Bahamian people. I think once people understand all of what is happening, we would be able to show them that the PLP is truly the best choice. One issue, for example, that just came up in the past week or so, which has led to me determining to make the presentation in Grand Bahama, is when you have the government making as overt a statement as was made, saying that there is no plan for Freeport or Grand Bahama at this time, is something which we as a party cannot allow to go unaddressed in a very strong fashion. And I believe that we have the answer, and we have to be bold enough to address those answers as they are, articulate them, and then to implement them as far as we can. We must become, if I could say it this way, the government in waiting, and not just simply waiting to be in government.
So you don't believe a chairman of the party should hold a parliamentary seat? He has to
No,
focus
I'm
on
not
that.
saying that he should not. I believe that at this time in the PLP, at this particular point where we are